morning. Welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgia Runner. And today we're going to be continuing the Get Fit With Me series, yoga edition. So we're going to be doing this routine called Move. I think there's a little bit more going on with this than the last one, but I still think overall, from what I've been getting from this series, because this is probably day 17 of the series, it's pretty all low impact, kind of perfect for people who are more on the beginner side of yoga to kind of get introduced to yoga. So it's not going to be a lot of heavy impact vinyasa style yoga, if you will, or like a sweat yoga. I'm not getting any of that from this series. Previous series, if you want to visit her channel, she has actually monthly yoga series that she kind of incorporates all her practices in, because she introduces new yoga routines, I think, at least once a month. But with the exception, January's daily. So, and she's been doing this since like pre-pandemic. So there's plenty of out there if you guys ever want to go and check her out. And it's a nice and free way to get introduced to yoga and hopefully not do something where and really just do something that helps you out. And then if you want to get more in depth, and maybe if you need some, like, if you think you're not doing the positions quite correctly and you think you might be hurting yourself, I would highly recommend then just going to a yoga class. But with this person who I use, I've actually done yoga multiple times before this, and I'm not as worried about my form as probably a lot of people would be, because I'm not really an intro. This isn't really new. But anyway, I digressed. I hope you enjoy the content, and we're going to get to it. Yes, you just saw my other cat, Zero, dart right when we started. The practice starts with me sitting on a pillow and just kind of like in meditation pose. The next movement is just stretching your shoulders. So she basically putting your hands forward, doing like a push and pull motion with your shoulders. Next, we're basically kind of doing like arm eagle pose, so like similar to what you do when you're standing, like an eagle pose, but really we're just doing it with the arms at this point seated. Also, I should mention in the video, she shows 3 different variations of this pose for basically whatever level you're at in yoga. From doing this pose, the pose is getting done on both sides. She also has us do a motion of clockwise and then counterclockwise, depending on what side you're doing the pose on. In between each side of this pose, she's having us kind of doing a stretch where we're moving our neck back and forth and just, stretching things out before we go to the other side. So I just briefly showed you the 3 different variations. From being seated, we're now going to go into all fours. And if you would like to have either a blanket or pillow on your knees, you're more than welcome to. She did actually mention that in the video. Also, I did just single 5 because she wants us to do 5 cat-cows. From the cat-cow poses, we're now standing kind of on our knees with our feet pressed on the ground with using your toes to kind of stretch out your toes. Might notice we're starting off exactly how we started off before with the cross-legged seat. Now, that's correct. We are doing the eagle pose on both sides again, but now on our knees. Now we're transitioning back to all fours, and from all fours, we're going to a plank pose. Hopefully your transition from a plank pose to a vinyasa is a lot smoother than mine. I clearly had to move Whisper out of the way, but that's what we're doing now. We're going from the plank to a vinyasa, either a cobra or, again, a vinyasa, whichever one you choose to do. From the cobra, we're transitioning back to all fours to a low lunge. Now we're back to doing the eagle variation poses with both arms again, but now just from a low lunge. From the low lunge, and of course we did on both sides, we now are transitioning to the front of the mat, doing a standard forward bend. Once you are in a standard forward bend, you can ragdoll your arms if you like. That's one of the things I like to do, or elbow to elbow, whichever you prefer. Now we're going to slowly rise up to the top in the mountain pose. From the mountain pose, we transition to the volcano pose, and then from there, we're slowly transitioning back down to a standard forward bend. And we're going to be repeating this sequence, the up and down, going slowly up and slowly down. Once we repeat this movement, I believe it was 3 times, we now transition to a low lunge. And you saw I was struggling just a little bit because I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally land on Whisper. Correction, it's a high lunge we're doing, not a low lunge, but we are going back to doing an eagle sequence again on both sides. In between the sides, we are then transitioning from that high lunge to a plank. From a plank to either a cobra or upward dog or whatever form of vinyasa you want to do. From the cobra or upward dog, we then transition to downward facing dog. Once we do that eagle sequence of both sides with the high lunge, then we are transitioning back to plank. Plank to whatever form of vinyasa you choose. From either upward dog or cobra, we transition back over to downward facing dog. From the downward facing dog, we are now going into a child's pose. And you can either do regular child's pose or extended. I believe I chose extended. From either the extended child's pose or whichever regular child's pose, whichever one you decided to do, we now are transitioning back to lying on our back, using the pillow or blanket, whichever one you end up having as kind of like your support for this practice. we are at this point now, the practice where we are winding down. So that concludes the move, the series for a move. Today, I will just say this when it comes to that practice. I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult than what it was. It actually wasn't too bad. Because the thing is, and I think I've said this in the previous videos, I am judging how hard it's going to be by just the thumbnail. So I can't really tell. And in this one, it looked like she was doing a lot more movement. And it was a movement, but it was pretty, if you're someone who's a little bit more on the intermediate, I wouldn't say I'm advanced by any means, but intermediate level of yoga, it really wasn't too bad. But anyway, and also too, I did notice I finally got the camera where I needed to have it at. And I will apologize ahead of time. I will apologize for some of the videos from before where it wasn't quite given what needs to be gave. But I think I was just playing with it, trying to figure it out. But I think I finally found the sweet spot. So there's that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the content. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And also, yes, Whisper says hi. Anyway, I hope you do that, and I will see you next time. Bye.